What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. It's your girl, Miss Honey. We are here for Iyanla's Fix My Life. This is season 6. I think this is like episode 13 of season 6. 3 daughters, 1 dead son, and 1 million secrets. And most of you, thank you guys so much who watched my review for Iyanla Fix My Life. Last week it was a little emotional, and I've had time to process those feelings and just, deal with how I felt about everything I did after watching the video 1 million times, because people just kept commenting on it. Just how upset I was. I was just really, really upset, you guys. I had to go to bed. Excuse me. I took to my bed after that. But, I had a lot of people come on and say a couple of things that weren't necessarily so nice. I forgot to put review or recap on it. So a lot of people was looking for the show and found me crying. So people weren't too happy about that. But I'm not here to apologize. I'm just here to let you guys know who supported me and who gave me encouragement. I had one sister who is a professional in the mental health arena send me an email and just, explain some things to me. And I just appreciate everybody who reached out in a really positive, supportive way. I feel things very, very deeply. I have never, ever made any bones about that. This is who I am. If you're looking for a more cold or callous way of compartmentalizing and dealing with these things, then this is probably not the channel for you, because I am by nature an unpacker, and that is what I do. I unpack, and a lot of people find value in that. So again, no apologies, no regrets. But we are back here again. If you stayed this long, please, and you're new to my channel, you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it, and I think you'll enjoy it here. We are kind, we are loving, we are no nonsense, we are deliberate, and I think you'll have a good time here. Also, ring that bell right next to the subscriber button, just so you're notified whenever I have videos. All my tried and true honeybees, I love you guys so much. You mean the world to me. Your support means the world to me. Your correction, your criticism means the world to me. So remember to hit that thumbs up, and then get down below and let's talk about it in the comment section. Everybody, okay? Let's talk about it. These 3 daughters and 1 dead son. This is about a mom who is 46 and she has 3 daughters. The youngest, which is 21, the middle one is 25. What's so funny about this whole episode is that I don't remember the oldest daughter's name. I don't remember her age, and I can only remember probably her first reaction. I don't remember anything else about her through the rest of the episode because she just had so little input. We get to meet the mom, whose name is, I think, Keisha or Kishia. Like I said, she's 46, and she found out about what was happening with her children 5 years ago. First of all, they had a brother, and she had a son who had a severe case of sickle cell. Sickle cell, as you know, is very prominent in the African American community, and evidently he went into a stage where it was terminal. So she found out what he was doing with the girls. What was going on with the kids, and then 6 months later he passed on. And basically what happened was the youngest daughter, Gabby, Um, Terrell, who is the son with sickle cell, who has gone on, he's died, had been molesting her or violating her. At this time, this is what the term that we're going with, violating her. And 6 months after mom finds, she finds out that he had been violating Gabby, he dies. And so she was caught in this place where she couldn't really mourn him completely because she was still so angry with him. So I can imagine that those last 6 months from finding out he was terminal until the point that he died was probably one of the most painful times for a mom, because here you have a child that you've worked so hard to keep safe and healthy and alive, and you're faced with the fact that you can't do anything about them leaving this earth before you're ready, and certainly before they're ready, I guess. But also, he's done this horrible thing. I thought it was kind of poignant, the way that Iyanla asked her. Now, how Keisha found out about her son was that her son and the middle daughter were arguing about it. The middle daughter's name is Kanesia. Kanesia and Terrell was arguing back and forth, and Kanesia hollered out that he was a molester, that he had molested Gabby. And when it came to the mom, what was being said, like, what I'm saying, your kids just arguing, and it becomes like white noise. You done told them to shut up a couple of times and be quiet, and you realize you just heard this thing. Wait a minute, what are we talking about? Well, the son took off and ran and left the house. The mama couldn't catch him. And Iyanla asked her, well, how did you know it was true? I don't know that her and the son really talked about it. I don't know. We never had any conversation during this whole session that told us that the conversation that mom had with son, like, what was that? So I don't even know what that space was like. Again, I'm an unpacker. I would have wanted to know these things, but it's only an hour show. Now, then the daughters come in, the oldest daughter and the middle daughter. I don't remember the oldest daughter's name. The middle daughter, Kanesia, has some very strong feelings about her mom. She feels like her mom gives all the love to Gabby, the younger daughter. I don't know if she feels like that because Gabby is the baby, in conjunction with the fact that the mom is probably showing some favoritism to Gabby because Gabby was raped by the brother. But we had found out in the conversation with Iyanla, the mom, Keisha, let her know not only had she been raped, the mom had been raped as a child, as a young one, and then repeatedly violated and apparently abused by men or a man. She was I don't know. And also Terrell had been raped. The son had been violated at some point somewhere. We didn't get into that. He's gone on, and we just didn't talk about that. So Kanesia feels like her mom shows Gabby favoritism. She feels like her mom thinks she's a dirty whore. One, because her mom said as much, that she was a whore and a trick and a bitch and all of this. And Kanesia was holding on to that. The oldest daughter confirmed that the mom did call her that, and Iyanla asked the mama why would she call her that, and come to find out the mama was projecting. She said she knew Kanesia was being promiscuous. The oldest daughter says Kanesia was just hanging with promiscuous girls, and the boys was just lumping them all together. Kanesia went on off to college, and she felt like her mom never did anything for her in college. She can barely stand Gabby. She doesn't really like Gabby. doesn't appear to me that she really likes Gabby. Doesn't appear to me that Gabby really likes her at all. They have a strained relationship. Well, come find out that Gabby never told her mama until after the whole fight between the middle daughter and the son. All right. The first person she told was Kanesia, the middle daughter. And she reveals later that she told her because she was expecting Kanesia to stop her brother from raping her. All right. Now, what's so funny is that the oldest daughter, how she was in the story in terms of being on the outside in the conversation. How she was right there in the session in terms of being outside, like an onlooker into what was going on in their lives with them. She was that way coming up, obviously, because she had a completely different perspective. Like, she knew her brother had done something, but she thought it was just a touch. Not even saying just like that's minimal, but she had minimized the conversation in her head. One, because she wasn't told a lot, and two, she didn't ask a lot, and three, when she realized that Kanesia was saying out loud that Gabby told her that he was raping her, having sex with her, then the oldest sister broke down. This is the one memorable moment I was talking about. The oldest sister broke down and she was angry. She wanted him to go to jail. She wanted him to be locked up. Like, immediately she put him in the hate box. Okay, but we find out after we talked to Gabby, a completely different story now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 stories. The mama got one version. It's not all there. All the pieces and moving parts aren't there. I'm not really sure if she's asking. She says they don't really tell her a lot. I'm not really sure why before the brother died they didn't all gather and talk, and maybe they did. That just didn't come out here. Kanesia has a story that's built on her perspective of the fact that she was called promiscuous. She was having sex, but come to find out it was with a girl, and she wasn't having sex with boys. She was just letting them think that she was doing this with boys, and she's really into girls. She says she's not gay, she bisexual. But I think she might be a full-on lesbian. I'm pretty sure she is. The other secret that she had that was hanging over everybody's head at the end was the fact that she really not that into boys anyway. She's a lot more comfortable with girls. But we also find out at 15, she was at a friend's house and her uncle came in. And while her and her friend was laying in the bed, he pulled her by her legs, pulled her down and raped her. With the friend right there in bed. Now, the older daughter had already said in her one-on-one or two-on-one interview with her and Kanesia, the middle daughter, she had already said that they live in a small town. This is why people was talking and saying that Kanesia was promiscuous and all of this. I don't even want to unpack the fact that people are apparently being raped and molested in whatever the town this is, but we ain't talking about that. Like, yeah. So Kanesia, the middle daughter, has also been violated, at 15. Then we find out another layer to the onion, peel it away, and we find out Kanesia and Terrell was best friends. The middle daughter and the brother was best friends. They were the closest. They was only 13 months apart, which is why Gabby told Kanesia. Kanesia never told her mom. She didn't tell her mom, which is what Gabby was hoping that she would do. She didn't tell her mom until the argument happened and it came out. That's how it came out. So I'm sure Gabby has some resentment about that. All right. I'm sure Kanesia has some resentment towards Gabby. Like, I'm sure at some point she probably thought to herself, what did you do to put him in this position? Although at the end, she seemed like she knew about her brother's molestation. Because they were so close, she said she knew he was hurting and she knew he was in pain. And I just want to put a pin in it right here. a lot of times, you know, things are made a lot more complicated when you put family members in it. Especially if there are family members that you got to see on a routine basis, day in and day out. But telling the truth and speaking up not only could stop the incident, it could help you, and it could also help that individual, because this whole family struggles with loving their brother, missing their brother, and also seeing him as a predator. And if Kanesia had said something, if Gabby had said something, if Terrell had said something, it could have, not saying that the incident wouldn't have happened, because if it didn't happen, we wouldn't have had anything to tell, but it could have minimized, you know, the continual violation. This happened when the girl was 8. The Kanesia said Gabby told her when she was 11. Kanesia remembers telling her from right up front, from giddy up. So 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, which is in Kanesia's mind when it happened. He had 3 more years to rape her. Add 3 more years on that to rape her. The mama didn't find out until Gabby, I think, was 15. I'm confused now about that, but you know, she didn't find out till 5 years later. 5 years after it stopped, 5 years after it started. She just said 5 years ago she found out about it, and then 6 months later he passed on. And I don't know. It's just crazy to me, because it was so little we could keep from our parents. It was just so little. Our parents was in everything. My daddy took out the trash. My mama knew when we was on our cycle. My mom did the laundry. She knew what our panties looked like. You know, it just got me to really thinking, just really thinking about, one, how blessed I was to have a mom and a dad in the home. Still, my mom and dad have been married for 50 years. They're still together. And what I noticed about last week and this week is that there was no father there. I don't know who this man that the mom claims that she missed a lot and she didn't see a lot that was going on because she was working a lot of shifts. And she was doing that, extra shifts and working overtime, so she could avoid whoever this guy was. They blacked his name out in the conversation. It's just like, I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Just everything that's happening is crazy. I will say, Iyanla seemed like she got a lot more done with 4 people than she did with those 2 individuals from last week. She seemed like she had a lot more impact. She seemed like she unpacked a lot more this week with more people in the same amount of time than she did last week with 2 people. Like, last week was a blur. I don't know if it's because I was so upset, but it was kind of the same dynamic. The mom had been molested. The daughter was being molested. You know what I'm saying? And then there was this pattern of abuse that was just continuing to happen. What bothers me more than anything is I felt for the older sister, because the moment she's hearing her sister say, Kanesia say what Gabby told her that Terrell did to her, she breaks down. That's how I felt last week. I feel like it's devastating. It is devastating. And I think what bothers me more than anything is that we have become a society that can hear about such brutality and such violation of children, of innocence, of youth, especially when it comes to girls. Even last week when the mom says it's harder on a boy who is bothered than it is for a girl. I even think back to Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, like I said, I'm an unpacker. I think back to Sodom and Gomorrah when Jesus had the people in the house and the these individuals was trying to get into the house. Let the men out so that we may know them. And Jesus said it would be better for you to take one of these ladies in here, one of these women in here, than it would be for you to take one of these men. Like, really? Like, really? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is our worth? What is our value? What's the worth and the value of our little girls? You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like people, we have settled into this being accepted. I think about Color Purple, you know, a girl child ain't safe in a house full of boys. You know what I mean? I think about, you know, the daddy saying to Mister when he first decided to let him have Celie. He came for Neffy. He wanted to take Celie. Nettie, he takes Celie. She's spoiled. You can do her any kind of way you want to, and she won't give you no mouths to feed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's an old movie. It's Old Testament. You know, but we're hearing it over and over and over again, and it is just conversation. People were molested. People were gang raped. People were, you know, yeah, he violated her. I was violated. And so my son was violated and my daughters were violated. Like, what the fuck? Where are your children? What the hell? I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, and Iyanla's talking about the cycle of poverty, and, you know, because mom is having to work doubles and triples, not just because she's trying to avoid this dude, but she's trying to keep a roof over her children's head. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I have so many feelings about what we should do. I struggle with how hard it must be to forgive your violator, knowing that it was your brother who was violated. You know what I mean? Like Iyanla was saying, you know, Gabby was saying he would crawl across the floor, and Iyanla was saying somebody taught him when they violated him how to crawl across the floor and overpower somebody who was less powerful, take advantage of somebody who had less power than him. But the power is in telling. If you have children, if you have nieces, if you have nephews, let them know. I always told my niece and nephew, it's absolutely positively nothing you can't tell me to keep me from loving you. Absolutely nothing. I never punished my niece or my nephew, my great-grand. I never punished them for telling the truth. You don't. A big injustice in my generation is speak when you're spoken to. A child stays in a child's place. I believe that is important to a certain degree, but at the same time, your children need to know that they can come to you with anything. It don't matter. Even if I get mad, I won't be mad for long. I'm always gonna love you. It's important to tell your children, nobody can hurt me. Don't let nobody hurt you thinking that they gonna hurt me. Nobody can hurt me. I'll hurt them first. If you tell me, I'll make sure that they stop that. I'll make sure that it doesn't happen again. And then you have to be the kind of individual that backs that up. I just don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand. I thought when you had your children, the love of your children was supposed to be paramount. But we're seeing repeatedly that little girls and little boys don't even know the value of their own lives. They don't even know how important they are to mommy and daddy because you so busy trying to get a tangible. We have to arm our children. How is this supposed to stop? Now, can we expect Gabby's children? Gabby 21, she got 2 kids. I don't know if it's a girl and a boy. Okay, what can we expect for Gabby's children? Huh? What can we expect in this instance? Okay, what can we expect? Until we talk and communicate, and that's the one thing that Iyanla said that I will 110% co-sign on. Always tell. Always tell your children. Mama was touched. Mama was touched, and it changed my life. I don't want that for y'all. I don't want it for y'all. Mamas need to tell too. Mamas need to speak up too. It needs to be conversations in families. We need to be talking about things. One thing for sure is those secrets are like a weight. Those secrets are like a weight. I am telling you, keeping those kind of secrets even amongst siblings. And see, we need to have these conversations where we talk to our children. And I want to talk about Gabby and Kanisha and Keisha, her mama, and whatever the older daughter's name is. I would love to unpack this for them. I'm glad to see that they're receiving therapy, you know, but at the same time, the die has been cast. It is now time for us to eat the meat and spit out the bones of this situation. It is important for you to be continually and perpetually horrified at the fact that there are people out there that will hurt your children sexually and physically and verbally. And the only thing you have control over are the children in your home and what they learn and what you teach them. If you're not teaching your children to protect themselves by speaking out and speaking on situations, if you are not teaching them that you are the one safe place they will always be able to come to, no matter what the incident is, you're falling short. You can provide a roof, you can provide clothing, you can provide education, you can provide all of these things. But if you don't teach your children how to fend and fight, you are weakening them. You are sending them out as lambs unto slaughter. Okay? If you are not being honest about what happened to you, then they won't know that you're coming from this place of, look, I know. I already know. I already know. Okay, I have an arsenal of stories. I always told my nieces and my nephews about things. Not maybe that did happen to me. Maybe I had seen or things I had experienced. Okay, I tell them stories about the fact that I could never spend the night at a friend's house. We didn't spend the night at our friends' houses as children, especially if they had a dad. Especially if they had brothers. If there was a male in the home, we could not spend the night. Well, I grew up where it was a lot of mamas and daddies. We never spent the night. And I grew up Pentecostal, holiness. My mama didn't allow us to spend the night with church people either. Never. Not ever. She didn't trust nobody. And I have my thoughts as to why. Looking at these 2 episodes, it's got me thinking. It's got me thinking. It really does. But she's a night owl. My mom's a night owl. She walked through our rooms at night and she would pray. She would tidy up. Like I said, she checked garbage cans. She washed clothes, all of that. My mama knew what was eaten, how it was eaten, if crumbs was in your bed. My mama knew. She just was on. And I have my thoughts about that. But at the same time, I realized how protected I was. Now, I had a daddy that went to work. My mama didn't work like that. My mama didn't go to work every day like that. She worked when we was younger, but she was always home when we got home. She was always there when we left, okay, because my dad always worked a full-time job. So I did have those benefits, but at the same time, like I said, I have my questions about that. If that's something that my mom experienced, she took that and turn that into protection for her children. What I'm seeing is from these last 2 episodes is that these mothers who have had these experiences of being violated have taken it and packed it away and pushed it down. And they just got to work. Where they got to work, 1, having children, and 2, they got to work doing, you know, taking care of the kids, seeing about the kids, okay? Never unpacking it, never telling it. And it was not something that they used to empower their kids, to inform their kids. If you've got hurt, if you've got scars, your family is where you share those scars. I know, I get it. Families can be difficult. Families can be judgmental. Kanisha said as much so. She felt like she would let her family believe that she was out there thotting and bopping with dudes because she didn't want to hit a judgment about being into girls. And it's really not that, their family really isn't that big. It's 3 girls and the mom. The family really isn't that big. Y'all, all y'all got. Like, if you have the same setup, if some of these things sound familiar to you, I just encourage you to talk and to share and to stand in your truth. Okay? And how people feel about it is how people feel about it. How they have to deal with it is how they have to deal with it. Okay? But it is important for you to let your children know what happened to you. It is important for you to ask your children if they are okay, if anyone is touching them, if they are safe. We got to do better. We got to do better, and we got to get our head out of the sand. It is not okay. It is not the norm. It should not be the norm that kids are being raped and violated. Okay, and they grow up scarred and dysfunctional. That should not be anyone's story. That is not okay. That silence is what kept them from forgiving their brother before he died. That silence is what kept their brother continuing to rape Gabby. Okay, that silence is probably what ended up destroying the relationship between the mama and Kanisha. And Kanisha and Gabby, because Kanisha and Gabby got a problem with one another. Okay? That silence isn't okay. You need to tell somebody. You need to tell somebody what happened to you. You need to tell somebody if you was uncomfortable. You need to have your kids tell you if they didn't feel safe. You need to communicate. We need to communicate. I will say this. That was one of the best things. One of a couple of good things that Iyanla said, that the communication, the lack of communication is a major, major issue. Okay, you guys, that's all I got for you tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this review / recap / discussion. Tell me what you think. Put it down below. Did you guys see this episode? What do you think? Until next time, honeybees. I'll holla.